Hello, I'm Reverend Rick, and it is my honor to be with you today. We really hope that this video is a blessing to you. And if it is, please consider making a donation. People watch our videos locally when they cannot necessarily come to church throughout the United States and the world. So please join us and click the link below and make a donation. Thank you, and let this be a blessing to you.
So let us prepare ourselves. If you put your hand over your eyes. I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today.
And your ears, I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today.
Now over your heart, extend your arms. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today.
The spiritual truth that I'm working with today is that we are all balanced human beings. Every single one of us are balanced human beings. How do I know that? Because we are divine emanations of the One. We are simply reflections of God, and God is balanced. Even those who tend toward extreme behaviors, even those people like myself for whom moderation is really not all that attractive, we're hardwired, even us, we're hardwired for balance in our life. And when we don't feel our balance, when we don't experience our balance, when we don't recognize that we are balanced human beings, what happens is we become unhealthy in body, mind, and spirit in our life. We feel crabby. We feel more fearful in our life. We tend to create conditions out there that reflect back to us that we're poor, or that we're homely, or that we're not creative beings. Whatever it is, when we are not in balance, we tend to have those things reflected back to us. You know, I've been reading a little of Tama Kieves because she's going to be here on April 14th, and you do not want to miss Tama Kieves. And one of the things that popped out, one of the sentences that popped out is that it takes an intermission to give birth to a mission. It takes an intermission to give birth to a mission. She's talking about balance in our lives. And experiencing balance requires us to look more than at just rest and activity, more than doing and not doing. It also asks us to look at spending and saving. It asks us to look at being bold and being humble in our life. It asks us to have a balance between adventure and serenity in our life. Those of us who are parents, we understand that we have to have a balance between strictness and leniency in raising our children. Balance is so critical for all of us. And helping us, if we should ever forget about the need for balance, or the fact that balance is always here, we just have to look at our own breath. We have inhale and we have exhale. We have inhale and we have exhale. And with that, if one of them doesn't show up, we're in trouble. We need both. The good news for us is the great Creator, God, Allah, Elohim, our higher power, has created a holiday for us to celebrate this idea of balance in our life. It's a holiday that helps us remind us of our natural state. It celebrates the whole notion that day and night are in equal balance this coming Wednesday. Equal balance, 12 hours for day, 12 hours for night. It's simply a reminder of great Creator's balance in our life. Well, Spring Equinox is the grandmother of all of the spring holidays that are happening right now. It actually came before the spring holiday on the Jewish calendar called Passover. It came before the spring holiday called Easter on the Christian calendar. It is a powerful pagan holiday. Now, if you're visiting today, we have visitors today, this is something I say every time I talk about earth-based religion. Pagan, literally translated, means country dweller. That's what it means. It does not mean devil worshiper. The devil is a Christian concept. It is not a pagan concept. They don't even recognize what a devil is. It means country dweller, and nothing to be afraid of. Pagans worship with the same equality the creator and creation. They worship those two things with the same love in our lives. You know, the Bible for pagans can be found on the earth floor. And that Bible can bring us as much freedom, as much understanding, as close a walk with God. If we studied the pagan Bible, Great Mother Earth, if we studied all of the attributes of Great Mother Earth, we would have the same, with same scholarship, we would have the same benefit that we can get if we were to study the New Testament and the Old Testament, if we were to study the Quran, if we were to study the Sutras. It will bring us the same freedom in our life. Well, the word Easter actually comes from the goddess Ostera, or Ostra. Depending on where you are geographically, it's either Ostera or Ostra, but it's the same goddess that brings us this idea of Easter bunnies for abundance, because bunnies are abundant little beings. And also coloring eggs comes from the goddess Ostera. The whole idea of making eggs beautiful this time of year. But you know what? Spring Equinox, like Easter, is much deeper than bunnies and eggs. It has meanings in it that can make our lives better. It can help us with our balance, with new beginnings. It can help us with new growth. It can help us create shoots of hope for any discord that is lingering from any winter of our lives. It's a powerful holiday. And what is great is what better demonstration of spring than this weather this week. Hasn't it been fabulous? The sunshine, the longer days, more available tea times. It's just been a great time. My hope is that everybody here has or will walk around and notice the bounty that God has laid out this spring. Take a look at the trees and the bulbs on the trees and the flowers that are shooting up in our life. My guess is, though, my guess is that we haven't walked up to a tree this spring and just looked at it and allowed it to fill our soul. Why? Because we're dashers. You and I are dashers in our life, and we have to stop dashing. I'm a big dasher. I dash from one project to another, one self-help book to another, one fad diet to another, one chore to another. We're just dashing all the time. In order to be able to experience the balance of our lives, we have to stop and slow down. Why do we run around so much? I think it's because we're trying to prove ourselves worthy in our life. We forgot that we are whole, perfect, and complete just as we are right now. We don't have to prove anything to anybody for any reason in our life. And if we could get that at a cellular level, we would stop dashing. We would know we have plenty of time to go and stand in front of a flower or a tree and just look at it. See, if you're breathing, and you're breathing because you're here, if you're breathing and your heart is beating, you're worthy in this life. That's all you need to know about how to be worthy. You're breathing. If you're breathing, you're worthy. Now notice that I didn't say you're entitled. Entitlement and worthy are totally different things. There are people in this world who think other people owe them something, that some other expression of God should take care of them, should give them things. That's not true. Nobody owes you anything. Nobody has to give you anything. And here's the great news about that. You don't need anybody else to give you anything, because God has given you everything you could want or need right now. Our work is to see it. Our work is to receive it, to open up, to allow it to be here in our life. The one who needs to understand that we're worthy is us. It's not God. God already knows we're worthy. So I want you to repeat some things after me. Breathing worthy.
Breathing worthy.
Breathing worthy.
Breathing worthy.
Breathing worthy.
Breathing worthy.
I am worthy of love.
I am worthy of love.
I am worthy of lots of money.
I am worthy of lots of money.
I am worthy of being a creative outlet on this planet.
I am worthy of being a creative outlet on this planet.
I am worthy of plenty of leisure time.
I am worthy of plenty of leisure time.
I am worthy of having everyone speak nicely to me.
I am worthy of having everyone speak nicely to me.
We're going to do that one again. I am worthy of everyone speaking nicely to me.
I am worthy of everyone speaking nicely to me.
There's no need for us to run around and try and improve ourselves to the point of exhaustion. This idea of please like me, please like me, please like me, that thing that drives so many of us, if not all the time, then it's sometimes in our life, that can end right now. It can end in honor of the goddess Ostera. It can end in honor of Spring Equinox to say, okay, I'm done trying to tell people to like me in my life and trying to do things to get them to like me in my life. We can slow down. You and I can slow down. We can take the time to feel the sun on our face, to hear music, to really hear music, to really not do anything else. It's not background music. It's actually music that we're putting on, and we just want to listen to that music. We don't want to do anything else. We're not going to double task or triple task or quadruple task. We're just going to listen to some music right now, and that's our focus. We can do that in our life. We can drive to Daffodil Hill, and when we drive to Daffodil Hill, we can consider how they're growing. They neither toil nor spin. They simply understand that they are enough, that they are worthy of our gaze simply by being. And that's true for us too. We are worthy of gaze simply for our being. Our founder, Ernest Holmes, said this. He said, anything learned can be unlearned. And I would add this. Anything learned can be relearned. Because most of us knew when we were babies that we didn't have to spin or toil. Most of us understood when we were babies, all we had to do was lay down in our crib and coo. And people were happy to gaze upon us. We were enough. We have to get back to that place where we understand that in our life. To know that we don't need anything else to adorn us. That we are whole, perfect, and complete, just as we are. No more addition. Maybe some subtraction, but no more addition in our life. But relearning this kind of thing, that we are worthy, it takes spiritual practice. It takes spiritual practice. And you know, if you've been coming here for a while, you know that we treat spiritual practice as more than just prayer and meditation, although we think those are important. But we think there's lots of ways to do spiritual practice in our life. So because we're a practical church, I'm going to talk about some things that you might consider are getting in the way of your balance and of your experiencing balance and of feeling totally worthy in your life. The first one is stop comparing your insides to somebody else's outsides in your life. Do you know that all of us have crushes, and most of the crushes we have are platonic? They're not romantic. Most of the crushes we have are based on seeing somebody else's outside, and then we start crying because our inside doesn't look as good as their outside does. But here's the thing. How many of us actually show all of who we are in the world? How many of us are effective at really sharing? These are the mistakes I've made in the world. You know what, the world would be a better place if we all shared that, but we don't. Because we kind of want to be on some pedestals until we fall off the pedestal, until somebody feels what we've the mistakes that we've made in our life. We all have challenges. We all have secrets. Lori Laughlin. Felicity Huff. Is that her name? Huffman. See how big I have a crush on Felicity Huffman. Jesse Smollett. All of them made mistakes. All of them had people put them on a pedestal and then get mad at them when they fell off. Now, I'm not saying that they shouldn't face the consequences that they're facing right now. But I do want to say that they are human beings who've made a mistake just like you and I have made mistakes. Maybe not those kind of mistakes, maybe not to that degree, but we've all made mistakes in our life. And so when we put people on a pedestal, what happens are two things. One is we cry when they fall off the pedestal, or we're mad at them for being human and making mistakes. Or the other thing we do is we're happy as hell because they fell off. And now, oh, we don't look so bad inside of us. Neither of those will get your soul to the place where you want to be. So the first one is stop comparing your insides to somebody else's outside. The second one is leave your past where it belongs, which is in the past. Leave your past where it belongs, which is in the past. Regretfully, most of the unworthy messages that you got when you were a child came from people called mom and dad. And the reason that they gave you those ideas of don't get too big for your britches, who do you think you are? What kind of a dream is that? Why are you spending your time doing that? The reason they gave you those messages is those are the messages they got. And they didn't come to a church like this. They called BS on those messages. They forgot that they could change at any age, no matter what age that we are in our life. Some of us were lucky enough when we were kids to find teachers who helped us understand that we are worthy, that we are going to be fine, that we are going to be successful. Teachers in the church this morning, will you please stand up and let us show you some love? Teachers in the church. Track, begin to have hope, begin to have a new spring because of these teachers in our life. It shows up in our life lots of different ways. I have a friend who has a little garden, not a big garden, but a little garden, and she has a green thumb, and this garden looks fabulous. It's just beautiful every single year. And this year she hurt her shoulder, and she wasn't able to turn the earth over. And it was just bringing her down. Her husband had 2 jobs. He was a janitor. He already had 2 jobs, so he couldn't really help her do it. And so he said, honey, get a gardener to come in here and turn over the soil. And she remembered her father saying gardeners were for rich people. And she didn't want people to think that she was rich. And so she didn't get a gardener, and she had a gardener, and she had no garden because of an old message. She was wrong on 2 points. First, gardeners aren't just for rich people, just like nail salons aren't just for rich people anymore. And the other thing that happened is she forgot that our past can come back to haunt us. Now, the past can't come back to haunt us on its own. It needs us to bring it to ourselves to begin to haunt us. So leave the past in the past. The last thing I want to talk about today is reframe everything in your favor. Everything in your favor. Leave nothing out. Reframe everything in your favor. It's a powerful spiritual practice. I've been working with it this week. It's simple. It's not all that easy to begin to reframe all of your quasi-negative, I know you're not a negative thinking group in here, but some of us have that slips in, that negative, those negative thoughts. Many of you know my story of Rogelio, who I love so much, but it's a good story to be reminded of every once in a while. Rogelio was a little boy whose parents were going to go out of town, and so they called their father and said, "Can Rogelio come and spend the weekend with you? We want to get away." And so the grandfather said, "Of course, bring him over." And then they started thinking, well, it's been a long time since I've had kids. So he goes down to the toy store and he buys him a plastic ball and a bat. And so Rogelio comes over and he's getting a little bored, and so the dad says, "Why don't you take your ball and bat and go out in the backyard and play?" And so Rogelio does, and he throws the ball up, and he swings and he misses. He throws it up, he swings and he misses. He throws the ball up, he swings and he misses. He does it about 10 times. And finally, the grandfather's getting a little worried. So he goes out into the backyard and he says, "Honey, are you okay?" And the kid says, "Grandpappy, look, I'm the best pitcher ever lived." We need to be like Rogelio. We need to be the best of anything that ever lived in our life. You can reframe your bank account from fear to poverty. It will take a minute. You have to do it with gratitude. But you can reframe your bank account from fear and poverty to gratitude if you reframe your thinking. You can reframe how you look at your body, that critical part of you that looks at your body. Oh, I don't like my chin. Oh, I don't like my hair. I don't like this or that. You can reframe that from criticism to compliment. It'll take a minute, but you can do it. You can reframe your inferiority about not having enough education. Oh, I didn't go to college. Oh, I didn't go to college. I don't have a degree. I'm not good enough. You can reframe that to look at what I've done, and I didn't even go to college. Reframe everything. Leave nothing out in your life. And once you start using these steps, and once you start using prayer in your life, once you start looking for the spring that is available to you in your life, you'll begin to harmonize with Great Mother Earth. And that is the point of Spring Equinox. Now, what I've done today is to talk to you about Spring Equinox. You have an opportunity to come here on Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and participate in ritual experiencing Spring Equinox. So I invite you all to